Boom, we're back. 124th edition of the Quarantinecast. Crazy, man. It's crazy. I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break over the holiday season. I'm actually not even going to be in my house, so I'll be taking a little bit of a break. But I'm really excited for the last two or three that I'm going to do before the end of the year. This one's really, really special. I saw his post on Instagram, and I felt the need to reach out to him, not only to talk about his post and his past and upbringing, but also about his fighting career. He's very, very successful. He's now 7-1 as a professional. And without further ado, I'm really happy to have him on. It's AJ Cunningham. Hey man, how's it going?
How y'all doing?
Not too bad. How are you doing throughout the pandemic and everything? The world's going nuts right now. I'm in Canada and everything's shut down here. So what are things like there?
I'm sorry, you're still kind of breaking up, man. What was that question?
What are things like there with the pandemic and the sorts of regulations they have?
The pandemic hasn't affected me too much as far as training. I've always been able to find a way to train, whether I happen to drive to Memphis, drive to Fort Smith, or train at my gym. My gym shut down for a month or two, but they opened up. We're full swing back, and yeah, I've just been grinding it out ever since. The pandemic's not going to get in my way of my dream.
You've had a hell of a 2020, man. I mean, outside of the UFC, you've probably had one of the better years. I mean, you went 3-0 since the pandemic, which is crazy. I think that's been 6 months, not even. So kind of go through
Yes,
the
sir.
mentality of staying busy and why you decided to do that. A lot of people took the foot off the pedal and decided to regroup mentally and take some time off, and you did the opposite.
Yes, sir. This is my goal. This is my passion. A lot of people could call me selfish. A lot of people have called me selfish because of it. But I'm not going to let anything, any man, any woman, any pandemic get in my way of chasing this. 10, 15 years down the road when my future kids or my family ask, well, what was you doing during the pandemic? I want to say I was chasing my dream and I was able to capitalize on my dream because I wasn't letting anything stop or scare me. And these 6 months have been nothing but hard work and a lot of sacrifice. I mean, so much sacrifice, um, but it will all pay off in the end. And it's starting to pay off now. We still have a lot more work to do, and I'm excited for it, man. I really am.
I mean, the last fight that you had against Charles Bridges was very, very impressive. And I thought it was your best performance of the year. Obviously, your one against Aaron was very impressive as well. I just thought that because Charles has had a little bit more experience, I thought that looked very, very good, and it answered a lot of critics. Um, Man, so kind of go through that. How good does it feel to get your hand raised with a finish rather than a decision like you did against Jewel Scott?
As far as my last fight, um,
Yeah.
we knew going into it, dude was 5-2. He ain't fought in a minute, and we knew going into it the dude was 5-2. He ain't fought in a minute, and we knew he was going to be tough. But we had made the adjustments, opposite stances. I've been able to switch stances well, and we knew some keys. If you watch the fight, opposite stances, the body kick is usually open, which would eventually open up the head kick. We wanted to attack that a lot, and we had worked that uppercut that I had knocked him out in the second with a lot. Both of my striking coach, Bruce Whitehead and Matt Sellers, we really, really drilled it a lot, and it was flawless, really. Props to the guy for taking so much damage. I hit him with some of the hardest shots, some of the cleanest shots I've ever thrown in my career. It was the first fight I've actually, as a professional, I haven't thrown a spinning elbow on. And that's just because of the opposite stance. You got to win that lead outside foot battle. And I was winning it so much. So it's really hard to keep your lead foot on the outside and land a solid spinning attack. So it was fun.
When you throw something like that in a fight, is a lot of that just instinct, or is it something that you drill ahead of time? Like, I feel like people who do like these spinning elbows and running off the cage, a lot of that is just improvisation. Is that what it is?
It's about, for me, 30% of the time, but I drill a lot of spinning elbows. We got this badass elbow I've yet to land in the fight where I fake a takedown. It's the same elbow Yair Rodriguez knocked out the zombie with. In fact,
Yeah.
we call it the zombie. You fake the takedown and you throw that right elbow up at the chin as you fake the takedown. And what happens is one or two things happens. That elbow touches them and sleeps them, or they cover up after the elbow, and then you re-enter on the re-enter on the second shot. But it's something I drill a lot, and I plan on being on ESPN top 10 when it actually lands.
Well, that for me is one of the best knockouts, if not the best knockout in UFC history. So if you can manage to pull that off, man, it'll be in highlight reels for many, many years.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, my man?
Yeah, it's like if you can land something like that, I mean, for me, that's one of the best knockouts in UFC history. So if you can land that in a fight, it'll be in highlight reels for years to
come. Where do I plan on being in a year?
No, I'm just saying if you can land that elbow, it'll be in highlight reels for many years.
Man, I'm just gonna take everything slow. I'm gonna see what happens in the next few fights. We've had offers as far as short. What's the word I'm looking for? Damn, why did I go blank? Short notice calls. The thing is, I've just seen so many fighters rush into the UFC, and not every opportunity is the right opportunity. And I just really want to take my time and get seasoned in this with no wrestling background, no boxing background. The best way for me to do that is just take as many fights outside the UFC. So when I get in there, I'm not cut after 2 losses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So who knows when I enter? It may be next year. It may be when I turn 28. I just want to slow play it, really.
You mentioned a name a couple of weeks ago, if not last week. What was it about Cole Farrell that you thought was a good matchup?
Yeah, so he's 10-0. I've heard a lot of hype about him. It's no disrespect. He ended up blocking me on Facebook and Instagram after I politely called him out. I just said, hey, let's fight. You're 10-0. I'm 7-1. I think it's a good matchup for both of us. He likes to put his face in people's crotch and lay on them. And I like to starch motherfuckers. Like, I like to touch them and take their soul. And so I just thought it'd be a good matchup, be fun. If I lose to him, I lost to a 10-0 guy. If he lost to me, he lost to one of the hottest prospects. So, and it's just a test, and it's not going to happen, sadly. So,
I want to talk a bit about your mentality, because one of the things I noticed about you, not just now, but when I'm talking to you, whether it be through DMs or face to face, is how nice you are, and you've got this great aura, great attitude. But that wasn't always the case, and I want to dive into that a little bit, because you did make a post that I think a lot of us fans really focused on, and if we didn't relate to it, we kind of felt your pain. So I want to talk a little bit about how did you decide, I'm going to put all of that behind me and make the right steps and going, and I'm going to go do something and become a professional athlete. I think it says a lot about your character, but how did you go about doing that? And what were some of the challenges you faced?
Oh, so as you mentioned, my story. And if you don't, my father was like crazy. Like, everyone says their dad, well, some people say their dad's crazy or their dad's abusive. Like, my biological father, not my father, had injected me with steroids at the age of 6. Like, we'd never got a bed. I was adopted at 8, so I lived through 8 years. Never had a bed. Was injected with testosterone and steroids because, like, my father was like all about having like true specimens, like true athletes, like killers, and just would make us fight, come from that. There's a lot more to it. We won't go too much into that, but I never let it dictate who I am. So for every bad year I had in my childhood, I was blessed with adoption and great friends and great supporting cast after I was 8 years old. And I feel like people dwell on the past too much. People dwell on negativity too much. And that was never going to be me. My mentality going into fighting was like the good things that had came out of my rough childhood was the fact that I always wanted to like do something, right? I always was like eager to fucking like go out and make something of myself, right? I don't know what it's really from. I just knew that after I couldn't make college football, I wanted to do something, and fighting seemed like a great way to really put my hands on people and be active,
I want to talk about maybe your first introduction to martial arts, because I mean, I didn't have anything near that, but I was an angry child. I did have some, so I was always mad. And how did you manage to drown out that rage that you had and turn it into positive? Because I could imagine you just wanting to go in there and just start hammering things and punching people in
Right.
the face.
So everyone thinks that, right? Everyone thinks that maybe I have rage or had some rage, but the truth was the rage kind of disappeared when I was adopted around 9 or 10. My mom would beat my ass when I would get in fights with my brothers or go in fights at school. So like I had never had no street fight, nothing. Like the first fight I ever had was my first amateur fight in 2015 as a 0-0 amateur, and going into there, my first MMA experience was fuck, man. It was awful, right? Like you think you're this big bad kid and you're tough, and just like everyone thinks they can fight until they actually got to fight. Just like everyone thinks they're a good swimmer till they go against a good swimmer. Like there's so much behind it. People don't understand the breathing, the head movement, the way you land your knuckles clear on the chin. You never hit with the back two knuckles. You always hit with the two front, and it's just little things like that. Yeah, my first experience had very little rage and a whole lot of heavy breathing and good placement. I would say it showed me where I was at.
And I mean, your brothers are also very successful in their own right. One is a Marine and the other's a football player, right?
Yeah, he had played at A State in Jonesboro for 2 years before he got married. Yes, sir.
Wow. So it says a lot about the three of you. And as someone who has two brothers myself, how important was it for you to have those two guys there, and vice versa? How important was it for you to be there for them?
Huge, man. Like, let me tell you something. I care for people. I care for a lot of people. I care for my friends. I care for my family. But my brother's like, that's a whole different level. Like when you see your 4-year-old brother bleeding out of his head and your biological father throwing him in there and telling himself to clean him up with a towel. And when you see your other brother get punched in the back of the head and glass going all over his face and he has scars on his lips from it. When you sleep outside together on a cold Arizona night, like it's a bond. Like it's not this, oh, that's my best friend. No, it's a bond. Like I'd kill for them. And I know they do the same for me. And like I said, I'd hurt a lot of people for a lot of people, but I'd kill for my brothers, and they do the same for me. It's a unexplainable bond. You either have it with someone or you don't. You know, they mean the world to me.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, as someone with two brothers myself, I feel the exact same thing. And man, it's great to see, and it's great to see you have that support system behind you. I want to kind of close it off with this in terms of this, I guess, topic is, if you could go back and give one message to your 6-year-old self, what would that be?
Bro, that this is just a step in life, and that you're gonna accomplish a lot more than you will ever know. And let's not focus so much on football. Let's get an MMA a little bit earlier. That's what I would tell myself.
I love it, man. I love that. So we have a massive fight coming up next month, and I couldn't go without asking a prediction. The return of the notorious Conor McGregor. Quite the transition here, but what's your prediction for that fight? He's had some time off. Do you think he gets it done?
Man, I'm not like it's gonna sound like I'm a McGregor nut hugger. I'm not a McGregor nut hugger, but with Habib out of the division, I just don't see a lot of opposition, right? Dustin's great. Dustin's gonna always be a top 2, 3 guy now, but he's at where he's at. You know, I think Dustin takes too much damage. I think that left hand, you can't stand in front of that left hand, no matter who you are. Habib didn't. I think if anyone poses a challenge to McGregor at this point, it's going to be someone like Gaethje when Gaethje moves, right, in those vicious leg kicks. But even then, you're on one leg throwing those vicious leg kicks. It just takes one left. I think McGregor gets it done within 3 rounds, honestly.
Yeah, it's such an interesting fight because it is a rematch, and they're both grown so much, right? Everyone's like, well,
Yes.
Connor's already done. Connor's already beat him. And I'm like, yeah, it's a different Poirier, but it's also
Different
a different
Dustin,
Connor.
different weight division. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of different factors.
Yeah, it's completely different fight. It's almost like they're two completely different fighters,
Yes, sir.
and I love it. I love it. You're right there as well. I mean, 7-1, you could be knocking on the doorstep of a UFC call or a Bellator call. What is the ultimate goal there? Is it to raise awareness of what you went through? Is it to reach become a champion? What is your ultimate goal? And does it have to be UFC?
No, see, that's a beautiful thing. I want it to be UFC because the UFC it has the best platform. like there's a couple things I want to do, right? Um, I could say fun, it could be funny and do this whole marketing thing. Well, that really, if I'm not doing fighting, I want to be a porn star and market my OnlyFans. That's kind of what I want to do. And truth be told, if I wasn't fighting, that's probably what I'd go for, honestly. But I really want to really help my community and help where I come from, help kids like me, right? Like I remember the DHS lady tell my mom, like when she adopted all four of us, like, oh, adopt these three. He's too far gone. He's too old. He's seen too much, and there's kids out there that's been past that label too, and it's fucking sad. So I would like to help with foster kids around this Batesville area. Um, as far as fighting, as far as that goes, I'll fight for anybody. UFC, Bellator, ONE FC. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to be able to compete at the highest level, and I want to show people that it doesn't matter where you come from. It matters where you end, and I plan on ending on a really good note.
I love that message, and I'm sure you've thought about this, and it may not be a question that anyone's asked you, but I'm going to be brave enough to do it. If you had the opportunity to speak to your father one last time, what would your message be to him?
Uh, I wouldn't. I don't know if I have a message for that guy. I don't hate him. Like it's not like I hate him, but at the same time, like I'd probably punch him in his mouth. Like it wouldn't be. I don't really have anything for him. No hate, no love. But I don't know. Maybe I fuck him up. I don't know.
It's I think it's kind of ironic and kind of beautiful that he was doing this. He wanted a purebred fighter. And you went off and you were like, you know what, screw that. I'm gonna go and do it my own way. And I think it says a lot about you and what you've been through, man. So really, really touching to even have the opportunity to speak to you. So I appreciate the time.
Nah, man, anytime, man. It was a pleasure. I'm sorry it took so long to get good internet connection and shit. Been on the go, man.
No, I understand completely. Is there anybody you want to thank? Any sponsors you want to thank, or any? There's your 1 second here. Boom. There's his all of his social media. But is there anything you want to plug or anyone you want to thank?
Yes, of course. My main sponsor, someone that's been here for a minute, is Bad Boy Mowers. I work for him as a purchasing agent or a buyer. CNC with Johnny Klaus. I want to thank ABC Bolt. I want to thank my local Walmart here in Batesville. They've been on there for a minute. My management, I got the best management in the world. First round management, Matt Weeble. He also manages my cousin Bryce Mitchell. So yeah, those guys, I really appreciate all of them and all they do for me.
Speaking of Bryce, man, what's your man? He's looking unbelievable and better by the minute. Man, what's it like working with a guy like that? His mentality is just so different,
bro. Like nothing can break me like a fucking Bryce Mitchell wrestling clinic. Oh my god, man! Like you stop one, it doesn't matter if you stop one or two. There's 4, 5, 6 more takedowns coming, and you want to talk about a mentality? That guy's got a different mentality. I'm telling you right now. He's a top 5 guy by the end of next year. He really is. At a Josiah, Arkansas, Searcy, Arkansas. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I like about him so much too is it's like if he wants something, he's gonna go get it, whether it's a win or camo shorts. It doesn't matter. And man, I love that. And man, thanks again for being so open. Thanks again for your time. And we'll do this again shortly.
Absolutely, man. You take it easy, okay?
Yeah, you too, man. Stay safe.
You too. Bye-bye.
There we go. That was AJ Cunningham. I've been a fan of his for quite some time, and I mean, if you can't relate to that story, it's really, really hard. And one of the things I like so much is not only that he's open about it, but how he's kind of turned it into a positive, and he didn't let it get to him, and he's really made something special of his career, both him and his brothers. And if you haven't looked at him, looked at his stuff, look it up, go on his Instagram. He goes into a bit more detail of what exactly happened. And I mean, it's sad, but I mean, looking at him now and what he's been able to accomplish, given all that, is really inspirational. And I'm happy I had the opportunity to speak to a guy like him. And man, I can't wait to see what the future holds for him. So that is AJ Cunningham. And if you haven't yet, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Also, be sure to follow and go online and check out fighterpath.com. Got all my stuff on there, interviews, articles, and I'm looking to do a whole lot more with it in the new year. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.